Once you hit rank 60, you'll unlock the Royal Capital Azmakalis, and this is kind of trivial. We only really do this to unlock Azmakalis of Cycle, which you would ideally want to finish before it resets, or at least start doing it. So for Royal Capital Azmakalis, there's 5 bosses in here. You can do them on your own time. The only ones we have to kill is Arahakan and Queen. Once we kill Queen, we'll unlock Azmakalis of Cycle, but they force us to kill Arahakan first, so we can go do that. So in Royal Capital Azmakalis, you'll first notice that when you enter, every single path is locked. They force you towards Devourer Arahakan, and you do want to 100% this eventually. You don't have to do it immediately because there's no entry cost now, so it kind of doesn't really matter. There's no point in going for efficiency or anything. And you'll also notice that there's no teleport points except for the center, so you do have to make it to the boss in one shot, which is a bit more relevant in here, honestly, because once you reach Azmakalis of Cycle, there's kind of less fights. If you can just go straight, for the boss, and there's some elites in Azmakalis of Cycle, which I'll go over later. But for Royal Capital, just do your camping when you need to. And again, I'll go over this again. It doesn't really matter what you pick. You can check the camping simulator if you really want the highest ones. But you can pick whatever. Just pick whatever S3. And even if you're below the minimum, you'll get at least 15. Okay, so we had to get the adjustment on both of them. It's fine. And you can just head towards the boss. Just remember, moving one tile is 1. And then doing a fight is 7. So this is 1. I already killed it. This would have been 7, 1, and then 7 because there's a fight here. You can just go straight for the boss and do the 100% thing later because there's no entry cost now, so it's fine. I ended up going to minus 50% stats. You probably don't want to be here. I would highly recommend just running straight at the boss and skipping this whole section here until later. But I'm pretty sure I can still kill this with 50% stats. We'll see how this goes. The mechanics can largely be ignored, at least for this easy version of the boss. He has this thing, basically, you're not going to do anything to him while this is up. You have to kill the 2 little dudes on the side, which you can do pretty easily. Mercedes, S2 or S3 is just going to one-shot them. So you can just kill these guys real quick. That little guy's still alive, we're just going to wait. And then if Arahakan takes a turn while everybody is dead, I'm going to do that thing, push everybody back. And now you have until his S3 becomes available again to wail on him. Because if his S3 becomes available, then he'll get his like death buff and immunity back. Since this boss is so easy or so low level, we can largely ignore the mechanics and kind of just burst him down. And I'm mildly curious if I can just try to kill him through the... I guess not. Okay, Commander Lena died because we're 50% stats and also because I opted to not heal. But it's fine if we can just finish off the fight. Obviously, it has Azmakalis of Cycle in both normal mode and then especially in Nightmare. You'll fight harder versions of these bosses, but the Royal Capital one is not really anything to speak of. Once you finish the fight, you'll see all of the paths are unlocked now. We only care about Queen. We're going to go there next, but you can click on the waypoint and just leave. After defeating Arahakan, we're going to be moving on to Queen next, so we can finally unlock Azmakalis of Cycle. This is the team that we'll be using. It kind of doesn't really matter what you bring, because like I said, you kind of just one-shot it. Brieg works fine here. Later on, you do want to run this team though, because this area has Deathbreak and Unbuffable, and Brieg has Deathbreak and Speed Down. And the boss is not immune to any of those, plus she has a passive here that makes her do things if you have 3 or more debuffs, so we want to stick with 2, and Deathbreak plus Unbuffable is definitely the best combo. Once you get to this top left corner, or top right if you went to that corner, You're camping, get your morale up a little bit for the bonus HP so that you're not just negative stats the whole time. And also, I would recommend manualing or turning Tamarin's skills off for a couple of fights at least, just because it's very nice to have Tamarin S3 up going into the fight, so you might want to just get in the habit of turning off her skills for auto once you get to this point. Makes it so that you'll have her S3 for all of the various things that it does and its giant power immediately at the start, especially because you get debuffed right at the start typically. So now we can head into the fight and take a look at the mechanics. Starting off, we're still missing one turn on it. Your first hit on this is going to enter you into phase 1. I'm going to S2 here, just because might as well have Tama get a little bit closer to the top. We can just do this, it's fine. You'll see she gets attack and defense buff at the start of her turn, and this is why we want Strip. You want Strip so that you can get rid of these things. In her passives, here somewhere, after being attacked when the caster has a buff, the flying troops, which aren't here yet, they're in these 2 eggs, have a 30% chance to counterattack. So this isn't until you get below 50%. Below 50% is where you want to make sure that the boss has no debuffs or no buffs on it before you attack. For now, it's fine. We can just get it below half. Use S1. Now it's below half. So the eggs hatching here is a little bit dangerous. This is a point where you might sometimes want to save Tamarin's S3 going into the fight. We kind of kill this thing a bit too quickly, so it's not really a huge deal here. In normal mode, and especially Nightmare, is where you want to keep in mind. They don't do like any damage. Lorena didn't have Death Break on it. I'm not used to it only being a 30% chance to counter. It's 100% in higher difficulties. That was kind of dangerous because if they hit Lorena, she could have died. But Megan just killed the boss, and that's it. This is just Royal Capital is very, very fast. And now we can move on to clearing normal cycle. So we exit here having killed the queen. Instead, we unlock the Azmakalis of Cycle, which will just be over here. The normal mode and nightmare mode. We're going to do normal mode first, especially because in the Journey of Secession, there is missions here. So these actually work for... Oh, they updated it. It says normal or nightmare. And you can only enter nightmare after killing normal mode's queen, so we're gonna have to do normal mode first. So I'll go over how to do all of the bosses in normal mode for anybody who wants to do them, because not everybody's gonna be able to do nightmare immediately. We can just go straight for the queen and kill her, and then do the other bosses in nightmare mode if that is what you so desire, because some of these bosses are pretty easily killable with just free units. Getting back to the Azmakalis of challenge Azmakalis missions, you definitely want to finish this first path of going into the second one, because these aren't retroactive as far as I know. So you're going to be time gated on these if you don't do this first. So we can go do this real quick. So now we've reached 50%. We can just claim this, get our artifact, Strax Gauntlet, next one, and now we can start working on these. So it says eliminate a boss in each area. So we have to kill every single boss? I think if it says each area, did this one say... It did eliminate boss one time. So this might be every single boss. And then here we have to kill the queen as well. And this is... we'll just do this along the way. Now it's finally time for us to tackle Azmakalis of Cycle. We're going to go straight for the queen, because like I said, this will unlock Nightmare Cycle, and you can immediately start doing Nightmare after you kill queen. Because some of the bosses are pretty easy to kill. even with just free-to-play units, while the other ones depend on your roster. Of course, if you aren't able to kill the bosses in Nightmare, you can swap back to normal. The bosses are linked, which means that you cannot kill them in both Nightmare and normal. But it's fine to try out Nightmare, and if it doesn't work, then just go back to normal. I'll be showing you how to kill all of the bosses in normal in this video. And we'll start off with Queen, of course. So let's take a look at everyone's stats for what we're using for Queen. Starting off is Adventurer Ross. This is just pretty much the plus 15 gear from the Path of Air, mixed with a couple of level, well, this is basically 85 unreforgeable gear on his right sides. If you have the plus 15 pieces, which I'm still missing, you can obviously just use those. His stats don't really matter too much, it's just HP, some speed. If you have a speed set, would probably be better. Effectiveness, you need 55 for normal cycle. You might as well go for 85 though, because that's what you need for expeditions as well as Nightmare cycle. And his effect resistance, 100 is nice, but it's definitely not necessary, especially in normal cycle. It'll be nice for later on in Nightmare cycle, just to prevent a bit more debuffs. Next up is Asaria. She is missing a chest piece, so let us give her something. Let's just see what we have available. I'll just give her any plus 15 chest I have for the defensive stats. So for Asaria, the main thing is you want her decently fast, ideally faster than Tamarin, but if you can't manage it, it's fine. And then you need, again, 55 effectiveness, though you might as well go for at least 85, later 105. Nightmare Queen requires 105 effectiveness, you need 85 for expeditions. And since I only have her 5-star, you do want a bit of bulk. I got pretty lucky on this necklace. It's pretty well rolled. So this is maybe a little bit unrealistic, but you should aim for some bulk. Like this stuff here, all these DPS stats are useless. Ideally you would have some bulk ones. Maybe you've rolled some from Wyvern or something. And for Artifact, just make sure you're not using Song of Stars. The boss gets mad if you apply 3 debuffs. So Song of Stars will pretty much brick your runs. I'm using a +0 or a hit +3 from the Limit Breaks, but pretty much an unenhanced Infinity Basket, since this artifact doesn't really have too much use. Next up is Tamarin. This is just her free gear from the Path of Air for doing her connection with Magaraha's Tomb. And then lastly is Commander Lorena. So this is just her Destro end gear. I'm missing a little bit of crit chance. I would hit it if I just reforged. These pieces are pretty good. They're definitely worth reforging. I'm just not doing it for now. For these pen pieces, like this piece rolled pretty badly. The free one you get from the Path of Air is honestly better. This one here. This one's just straight up an upgrade, because they guarantee that you roll into the DPS stats. So we can just swap it real quick. And this is also definitely worth reforging. Maybe in the future. Just these pieces honestly all rolled super well, so it's already a bit unrealistic, but we'll not reforge for now just to keep the stats a little bit lower. And for Artifact, Daydream Joker does not work into Queen. So you're going to want to use any sort of damage boosting artifact. Symbol of Unity's the easiest one to get. It's just 12% damage boost, though. Honestly, even without an artifact, Commander Lorena's going to obliterate the boss. And then one more thing is, if your Tamarin does not have 100 FRES, you're going to want to swap this over to Kazran, just in case. So now we can head in, and we'll make it over to the Queen, and I'll explain the fight. Again, once we make it to this corner, or this corner, whichever path you took, you're going to want to turn off everybody's skills, and we are going to do the next fight so that everyone's skills come up before we go into Queen. One thing you can do, actually, is while you're here, you can target this little egg down here. This egg is kind of annoying, because when it hatches, it's going to debuff everybody. It's a 3-turn debuff. There's a chance you won't cycle it off in time. If you can kill it, well, not really kill it, but if you can force hatch it, which I only did because of a lucky duel there, but didn't target it fast enough with Commander Lorena earlier, it's not going to debuff anybody. Like, nobody's debuffed here. One more thing to mention is that if anybody died on the way here, it's fine. You don't have to restart. One thing is that since you have a free respawn, you can just go in, die to Queen, and then come back out with your free respawn, and everybody's going to be up. Also, you'll notice for the morale, the negative effects are much less bad. Minus 1% is like minus 25% stats in a normal labyrinth. It's no effect here. We can camp anyways, just to raise our HP by a very tiny amount. Let's try this one. Nope, boosted the 15. And those exactly 15. So, we are here, though. Well, we can talk about it later. First, let's go into the fight, and I'll turn everyone's skills back on and turn off the auto. So, my Asari is a little bit too slow. I speed RNG'd here. I'm not going to pop Tamarin's idle form just yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit, because these eggs land debuffs when they hatch. So we're going to wait a little bit on that. We can hit the queen and we enter phase 1. And these two eggs are no issue. These two are a slightly bigger one because they have a chance to land silence when they hatch. This is why I brought Khazran, because he dispels 2 debuffs from all allies when you use him, so we can use him later to cleanse debuffs. For the first phase, you can kind of just rush her down. We're just gonna blow everything. And just burst her. It's only until the second phase where we have to start being a little bit more careful. We're gonna reset Tamarin, so she's a second idle form. This does reset her cooldown, even though she is still in idle form. We landed all of our debuffs, which is pretty nice. And I'm just gonna S3 here. So you can opt to wait for Tamarin's idle form to come back up, like you would just hit the ads here, the invincible ones, because if you hit the spiders, her HP will go down, and dropping her HP below 50% via hitting the spiders. I'll just hit a spider here and you can see her HP goes down a little bit when you hit the spiders. That will trigger her second phase, because the way it works here is it's this one. At the end of someone's turn, when she's below 50%, she gets her extra turn and enters phase 2. So you do want to be careful even if you're hitting the spiders. Especially if you don't have Khazran, then I would highly recommend waiting for Tamarin to exit idle form so she can use her S3 again. But since we have Khazran, it's not going to matter. I'm just going to hit her. Nobody got silenced, but we can use this anyways. Everyone's cleansed. And now you have to be a little bit careful, because when she is attacked, if she has a buff, these little guys, the bees, are going to counterattack. We can use Tamarin S1 to try and strip it, and we did, which is nice. So we can just focus down Queen now, and we're pretty much good to go. Even though they're going to counter, I'm just going to try and tank it. I want the death break there. And here, we can just do this for now. Aim for the strip again with Tamarin. And she's dead. Actually, don't even need a soul burn. And yep, she's dead. So now, on your next run of normal cycle, you can just teleport here and fight the queen immediately. This works for all of the bosses. For queen specifically, I think it's not that useful, just because your Tamarin S3 is going to be on cooldown, and you're not going to have any souls. Tamarin S3 being more important, you can get by without souls. So you might want to just walk a little bit, do some fights, and then teleport over and hit queen. there's also all of the elites. So I'm going to show you this. This is the map for normal cycle, and these little morale things aren't relevant anymore. It's just the orange tiles are the elites. These elites are worth killing, I think. It doesn't really take that long, and they have a chance to drop galaxy bookmarks, which is really, really nice. So I would definitely recommend taking your time to kill these. Maybe I'll remake this eventually, just because the morale stuff doesn't matter anymore. But since Labyrinth has no entry requirement anymore, you can actually kind of just teleport out and exit, and then you can re-enter. And also, the fights don't respawn, like these mobs in between. They won't respawn until a month resets. So I can just show real quick. You can exit. And then Queen has a chance to drop an Epic Artifact Charm or a Galaxy Bookmark. It's 50-50. Nightmare Cycle unlocked. We can go back in. If you go up here, you'll see this fight is already grayed out because we already did it. So you can just kill the Queen, get out, and then come back later and do the elite fights later. Next up, we will be fighting Arahakan. Main thing for this is we need a good amount of AoE. Mercedes honestly covers that by herself. And quick look at their stats. Tamarin on her usual gear, just speed. This is just her free gear with Magaraha's Tome. And then we have Mercedes, just on the free plus 15 Destro gear, but I'm keeping the speed main boots for the speed. Plus the plus 15 crit gear, all from Path of Air, with Daydream Joker as her artifact. Krieg on his free gear from the Wyvern Hunt Challenge with Steadfast Gatekeeper as his artifact. You can also give him Arius if you find yourself needing the protection more. And then Commander Lorena just on the Golem, Destro plus Pen gear with Daydream Joker as her artifact. So we can just head in and we'll make our way over to Arahakan. We are right before Arahakan. Did my camping, and I'm pretty sure we can auto it, so we are going to give it a try.
정령왕 힘은 무의미한 타락을 거듭할수록 네 가치는 사라질 뿐이다.
공포의 시야 개방하라.
주제 모르는 자의 자만은 가소를 부린다.
여기에요. 자주 도울게요.
느리다.
라라라.
때가 되었다. 무의미한 타락을 거듭할수록 네 가치는 사라질 뿐이다.
새 노래를 들어주세요. 신사숙녀 여러분. 브레이저 함께해요. 준비됐어요. 모든 것을 뚫어버리겠어.
어리석은 탐욕을 위해 해플 잡인다. 정령왕 힘은 주제 모르는 자의 자만은 가소는 뿐이다.
자, 지금이에요. 야, 공포의 시야 개방하라.
이 가치는 사라질 뿐이다.
잡아라. 잡아라. 여기에요. 함께 싸워요.
어리석은 탐욕을 위해 해플 잡입니다.
반짝이네. 자,
Okay, so that is the boss killed. If you were manualing it, then you would just kind of focus down the spiders a little bit faster. But it works fine on auto. So now, as usual, you can either go kill the elites or just teleport and kill the elites later. So I did hit a galaxy bookmark after leaving this run, and this is just showing that the elites can drop galaxy bookmarks, and this is why you kind of want to kill them. I have an epic artifact charm, which can only drop from the boss, and then a galaxy bookmark from the elite. I killed 2 elites on this entry, which is why I also have a lesser charm here. Now we'll be taking on Vera with this team here. I've shown all their stats already in the previous sections. Vera's pretty annoying in the first phase at least. Once you get past the first phase, the rest of the fight is really easy. Let's get into it. So the route to Vera is extremely unsafe, because this elite here likes to kill you if your damage is too high, and this elite likes to just kill you regardless. But because we have infinite entries now, we can just clear the path up to here. There's one more fight here and one more fight here. Both normal mobs. We can just clear those. We're going to teleport here. Going to exit. You also see my area died to the first elite that I mentioned. We can just come into here. Let's put Commander Lorena back in. Gonna give her Daydream Joker back. And now if we enter, we can just walk this entire path. You see this mob is already dead. And we can just walk back all the way over here with all of those mobs being dead already, and we will be completely safe until we get to the boss. We do still want to get Tamarin S3 back though, so we're gonna have these 2 fights here, which should hopefully be enough time for us to get Tamarin S3 back. Regardless, we will have a Saria S2 anyways. I'm just going to turn everybody's skills off so that we have our skills going into the boss. One thing too, though, is we don't have any souls now. So if you want, you might want to like come this way and fight this guy real quick and just spend some time generating some souls. Here we are at Vera. I actually decided to loop around this entire area and kill everything here just to get enough souls. I'm going to turn off auto and we're going to head into the fight. So when this egg hatches, it can apply a bunch of random debuffs. Ideally, you have 100 FRs on your Tamarin, but if you don't, there's a chance that she just gets, like, silenced or something. Worst case, we can use Kazran to cleanse. We still have Tamarin S3 up. So instead, the main thing is do not hit Vera with a single target attack while these ads are alive. You're going to do this instead. Now we can pop Tamarin S3. And now we can use Mercedes and try to kill all of the ads. The thing is, Mercedes S3 damage is very, very high, and now we can start just slamming it into Vera. The Vera does have a passive, you can see, Mystery of Life. Every 4 hits, that's 2, that's 3. And on this, I'm going to reset Tamarin first. On this 4th hit, she is going to get an extra turn. So we're just going to do this. Also see she cleanses a debuff at the start of her turn, which I think is here. The start of the turn dispels 1 debuff from the caster. That S1 is also very annoying because she'll stun 2 people, but you could use Kazran if you want, and as long as not both of your DPSs are stunned, it's kind of fine. Also, just in case you end up taking a bit longer, it's worth keeping in mind that when her S3 comes back up, she'll respawn the eggs again, so you probably want to make sure that you have like your attack buff Mercedes S3 combo. It doesn't necessarily have to be Tamarin S3 for the cleanse and attack buff, because Kazran is the same thing. Cleanse and then attack buff, so Kazran is definitely very nice to have here. Now this should move us into phase 2, 50% HP.
명령을 내려주십시오.
So this phase is just when you hit her, the ads will push up. We can kind of just death break the egg real quick. When they kick, they strip and push back. So we resisted that part at least. Heal up real quick. And pretty much this should just send us straight into phase 3. It's not very tanky. So now here, I'm going to hold Mercedes S3, or in a bit, she's going to summon the eggs with her S3 here. So we're going to wait a little bit here. We do want to try and strip this immunity buff. So let's do this. We're going to hope that kickback doesn't land on Commander Lorena. Hitting those two is fine. We're going to push up and let's see how much damage we do here. Enough to kill her, it seems. So we kind of skipped phase 3. Normally, how that would go is when she uses her S3, it's an AoE, does attack down, we'll summon the eggs. Good time to pop Kazran, it'll cleanse, reapply attack buff and everything, and do a bit of damage, then you can just kill the eggs, and you would just kill her. So that's it for Secretary Vera. The next boss we'll be facing is Juleeve. I am bringing in Montmorency just for her cleansing. This is what she looks like. In a perfect world, we would have 200 FRES, but 0 imprints. I'm missing 18 FRES from that alone. And some of this gear not being reforged and also just not rolling into FRES is a little bit sad. So we'll just be working with this. It's going to be good enough. I have a second Magaraha's Tome on her. I have 2 Magaraha's Tome, just because I think this artifact is insanely good. If you don't have 2 Magaraha's Tome, any healing artifact like Rod or something, or even like Celestine or any sort of healing artifact. You could also go Potion Vial on Tamarin or something. It's just Magaraha's Tome is just generally the best one. So we will be rolling with this for Juleeve. The main thing is we want no debuffs. Mercedes and Commander Lorena have no debuffs. And then Montmorency and Tamarin will be our healer / cleanser, also with no debuffs. The boss can't be slept. So here we are at Juleeve. Last time I autoed this fight on my other account, though I did have a 200 FRES Momo. We will see how this goes without that.
당신의 아픔을 제가 덜어드릴게요. 갑니다. 얍! 내 창끝이 적을 섬멸한다. 저리 가세요. 공포의 시야 개방하라. 새 노래를
So that's the fight. Nice and simple, thanks to having a second healer here. If you don't want to build Montmorency, or just want to do this without her, you can slot in Ross here. The main thing is just don't debuff the boss, so probably don't use S2 unless it's in the split phase. And Kazran with his full cleanse, if the poison starts stacking up a bunch, Kazran should be able to get you out safely. Lastly, we have Karkanis. This boss also wants you to have a good amount of cleanse, so we will be using Montmorency again. We also want some kind of AoE ideally, which Mercedes will be here for. And Brieg is also great for this fight. Lorena as the generic DPS. So let's make it to the boss. So now we are at the Karkanis boss. There is a counter elite like over here. Or was it over here? One of these is a counter elite. If he kills you, just exit the portal and then walk back because there's no entry fee and he'll stay dead. At least until the next month. And this fight is autoable, I'm pretty sure. Maybe with like with really bad RNG, your Commander Lorena might die, but you should still clear even with 3 people, so let's get into it. I also don't know why those ads kill themselves every single time you enter. That's been a bug for like months. This boss, I should explain its mechanics a little bit. If you hit him while debuffed, he will counterattack and death break you. That is why we like having Montmorency here, just because you can cleanse the debuffs. And also these ads like to apply debuffs too. Montmorency is really good at cleansing small amounts of consistent debuffs, which is pretty much what this fight does.
주제 모르는 자의 저항 가슴
The boss is in stealth, but Mercedes has a very easy time popping him out of it, and also Brieg's S1. If it procs at full fighting spirit, it's going to send itself into the boss as well. We almost skipped the entirety of phase 3. Thanks to Commander Lorena's S3 doing way too much damage. One mechanic that we never got to see is, well, we got to see it as we killed him. If you are debuffed with, no matter what debuff it is, you have a chance to miss the boss. And when he misses, that's when he does counterattack thing. So that's why you like having Montmorency here for the cleanse. This one's nice and easy in normal mode at least. And with that, we are done with all of the bosses in normal mode. And we didn't really use that many units. We hit 2 Galaxy bookmarks this time. Very nice, because we killed only 2 elites. So we went 2 for 2 on Galaxy. Wait, no, 1 is from the boss. So 1 bookmark from elites, 1 bookmark from the boss. Still very nice. This is why I think it's definitely worth killing elites. And this ring is fake, but yeah, I'm rolling that. But we are done with all of the bosses for normal mode now, and you can see that we have nightmare mode here. And let's go in real quick. All of the bosses are marked as dead already, since we did kill them in normal mode. We also can't teleport to them yet. You have to kill them once in nightmare in order to teleport there. So eventually we will come do the bosses in nightmare. Nightmare does require a lot more units. You can't reuse units after you kill the boss. I'm actually curious if I exit, since there's no entry fee now, if I just exit, can I not use these units anymore? Yep. You can't reuse units after you exit, so we can't necessarily do the thing where we clear out the path to the boss, but none of these elites are really that hard to deal with anymore. That's actually something to maybe consider. Sacrificing 4 units to clear out mobs on the way to the boss. But none of the elites are that bad in Nightmare, at least. Anyways, that's it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.